We're going head-to-head to pick the best snacks at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Hello there, ma'am fam. It is time for another edition of the Booze and Bites Draft.
This is the game where we recruit the best snacks and drinks to our team and you decide who wins.
Today we are playing at Hollywood Studios with iconic lands such as Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge, Toy Story Land, and Commissary Lane.
It's really anybody's game, so let's get to it. Here's how the game works. We are going to do a coin toss to see who gets to recruit first. That person will then be drafting one land to their team. When you recruit a land, you now have on your team all of the quick service locations, all of the snack stands, all of the lounges. Basically anything that's not a table service restaurant is now part of your team. There are 8 lands here in Disney's Hollywood Studios: Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard, Commissary Lane, Toy Story Land, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Grand Avenue, Animation Courtyard, and Echo Lake. We will be playing 3 rounds, which means 6 of those lands will be recruited to our teams. And once you've watched, please head over to the community tab where you can vote in our poll of who did the better job drafting their Hollywood Studios snack team. And now, the ceremonial coin flip.
Molly, make the call.
Heads.
Heads!
Wow, what an honor to be going first in the Hollywood Studios Booze and Bites Draft. There's a lot of good choices here. You've got Hollywood Boulevard, home to the Brown Derby, one of my favorite spots in all of Walt Disney World, the lounge. You've got Toy Story Land with tachos. But I think for my first choice, we are going to be going to the galaxy far, far away, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Welcome to Team Molly.
Ridiculous. Such a strong pick.
Welcome, friends, to the planet of Batuu. We have made it into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And honestly, I think the best pick here at Disney's Hollywood Studios because of the volume and the plethora of how many delicious eats and drinks there are here in the galaxy far, far away. For starters, you got custom Coke bottles, friends. Sure, it's just a Coca-Cola, or in my case, a Diet Coca-Cola, but it's in a special bottle with Airbrush on it, and that's pretty cool. Want something a little more unique to drink? Well, then head on over to the milk stand where you can get the infamous blue and green milk as seen in the Star Wars movies. They are plant-based, coconut milk-based drinks, and they kind of are somewhere between a smoothie and a slushie, and you can get either one spiked if you are of age and want to add a little extra flair. And if we're going to talk about drinks, of course, we got to mention Oga's Cantina, the hottest watering hole this side of the Spires. I'm sure that joke worked. I know a lot of things about Star Wars. Don't worry about it. Moving on. Oga's Cantina does take reservations, which I do highly recommend, but they also have a walk-up list, which often has availability these days. Oga's Cantina has tons of specialty cocktails like the Fuzzy Tauntaun, which is a peach vodka drink that'll make your mouth tingle. They've got the Jet Juice, which is a spicy bourbon cocktail, as well as a plethora of signature beers that you can't get anywhere else other than Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. They've got some snacks in there as well, including the much improved charcuterie board. And while he doesn't count for the draft, it's nice to know that the ambiance is great thanks to DJ Rex spinning the beats. And here, as we walk into the Black Spire Outpost, which is the marketplace here on Batuu, you've got even more eating and drinking options. For starters, on the back end, you've got Docking Bay 7. That is the full quick service restaurant here in Galaxy's Edge, where you're going to find delicious items such as Tip Yip, aka chicken. It comes with mac and cheese. It's delicious. You've also got a variety of signature dishes such as ribs, a vegan falafel dish, which is great, a very solid quick service option if you're interested, as well as a few more snack stands. You've got Ronto Roasters with the famous Ronto wrap, and one of my favorite places in Disney World, Katsaka's Kettle, where you can get my beloved Katsaka's Outpost Mix popcorn, which is a mix of spicy chili lime and sweet lemon blueberry pound cake popcorns. It tastes like spicy tricks. It is oh so delicious. Now, as always, of course, we are going to be sampling a treat or eat, or in this case, both, for each of the lands we recruit to our team. And I'm sure some of you are surprised that I'm standing here outside of Katsaka's Kettle and I did not get the Outpost popcorn mix. But one, we show that all the time, so I wanted to mix it up. And two, I'm fighting for the people here, and that snack is pretty divisive, and I want more people to vote for me. So I have gone for the very popular Ronto Wrap and the Black Calf Cold Brew. This is a specialty space coffee you can only get in Galaxy's Edge. It's got Joffrey's cold brew, a cream cheese milk topping, and then it's topped with Cocoa Puffs, just like in space. You can also get it spiked if you want. I did not. And then again, here's that famous Ronto wrap. Alan picked this up over at Ronto Roasters. It has got a grilled pita bread with a pork sausage as well as grilled pork, and then some coleslaw on top and a spicy, tangy peppercorn sauce. Ronto Roasters closes early, pro tip, but they still have this available at Docking Bay 7 once that closes for dinner. First up, space coffee. Now, I don't love sweet coffee. That is not new information, but I do enjoy this one. Now, if I'm going to order it with the cast member, I ask them to go a little bit lighter on the topping there, but it's still not too sweet. Just a little bit of tanginess from that cream cheese on there, and it's fun to have Cocoa Puffs on it as well.
And I'll be sampling the Ronto wrap, which is a small glimmer of hope in my impending draft choices. Cheers. It's still tasty, even though I wish I was eating it because it was my choice. Sausage is good, nice snap on the exterior. Pita bread is always nice and fresh. The veg breaks up the richness of the meat. This is a solid, handheld, walkable snack. I must also begrudgingly tell you that this means Molly recruited the other two versions of the Ronto wrap. The first is the breakfast version, which has eggs on it and is available for breakfast. And the second being the vegan version, the plant-based version, and that is called the Suki wrap. It's also spicy and very tasty. I don't know why I'm telling you this. It only helps her. All right, so this is a tough loss on the round one pick here for Molly, getting Galaxy's Edge. Very strong for her. I'm very happy for her and her team. Looking at the rest of the field, we have a lot of great players with some really good upside, although some of them also have pretty big downsides as well. For example, here on Grand Avenue, the upside, Baseline Tap House. The downside, Pizza Rizzo. However, there is one very strong contestant that remains in the mix, and therefore, Hollywood Boulevard will be coming to join Team Allen.
That was my next choice because of Brown Derby Lounge.
Now, while Hollywood Boulevard might not have the sheer density of delectable treats that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge does, it does have two very strong contenders. The first is the Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge. Remember that the Hollywood Brown Derby Standard is a reservations-only establishment, so it does not count towards my pick, but the lounge does. It also includes the Trolley Car Cafe, which while it is mostly a Starbucks, it also has a delightful treat in there known as the carrot cake cookie that is 2 pieces of carrot cake with cream cheese frosting between them. It's delicious. Now, outside of those 2 locations, there are also a whole host of carts that exist here in Hollywood Boulevard, ranging from popcorn to beverages, and, as well as Molly has told me, a nice little brownie treat. So what I'm saying to you folks is, while these choices might not be the flashiest, they might not have all of the pomp and circumstance of a lightsaber or a specialty-shaped spherical Coke bottle, they're classics. You got Mickey-shaped pretzels, you got popcorn, you got candied almonds, and Mickey premium bars, as well as Mickey ice cream sandwiches. So I ask you, what's not to love about that? Now, one of the best parts about coming to the Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge is that you can order off of the full Brown Derby menu, and there is an exclusive bite that you can get only here. Spoiler alert, we ordered it. They also have an incredible bar selection, so if you want to get any of the well-made drinks, you absolutely can, or they have a number of specialty beverages. It really is just a nice place to sit back and luxuriate a little. Take some relaxation time for yourself in the middle of a hectic park day. Okay, so we've picked up our beverages. They have incredible classic cocktails here, so naturally that's what we've picked up. They also have really, really nice martini and margarita flights if you are interested in trying a variety of a specific beverage. As it stands, Molly has picked up the Manhattan, and I have picked up my ever-so-classic old-fashioned.
I, too, enjoy an old-fashioned here, and I often go for just a classic vodka martini with a twist, but decided to mix it up and get the Manhattan today, which is made with Buffalo Trace bourbon, vermouth, and Luxardo cherries. It's basically the old-fashioned of martinis, if you will. Ooh, she is boozy, but she is so delicious. Not sweet at all. Definitely not the first bourbon cocktail you should ever have if you don't like bourbon. But as someone who wants a nice sipping beverage, a classic beverage, to sit here with my pinky out and people watch and pretend I'm in old Hollywood, it is delicious.
And I myself will be enjoying an old-fashioned because, of course, I love them. This is made with Knob Creek bourbon, Angostura bitters, an orange slice, dash of water, and some Luxardo cherries. Cheers. And it's just how I like it, where I can still taste the bourbon and it has a nice burn to it. It's an old-fashioned where the bourbon shines, and everything else is just meant to accent it. A little bit of that sweetness from the cherries, some citrus from the orange. Pardon me, I'm in a good place right now. Okay, our food has arrived. Now, normally when we go here, we end up picking up the famous Cobb salad because why wouldn't you? It's delicious. But this time, got something a little bit different. Some crispy green beans with a fresh truffle and citrus aioli, as well as this exclusive item that you can only get here at the Brown Derby Lounge. Now, this is the BLT sliders with pork belly, tomato jam, and a barbecue sauce on top, along with some house-made chips. And it looks delectable. I can't wait to dive in.
Oh my gosh, I've been sleeping on those. Last time we were here, our server suggested them because they're technically an enhancement on the menu, but you can order them a la carte. Those are awesome. They are nice, light, hand-breaded, you can tell. Crispy green beans, and then this like citrus truffle aioli is amazing. Crispity, crunchity, not too heavy, and technically I'm eating vegetables right now, so.
Okay, let's dive in. A nice grilled mini bun here. I have high hopes. Those are really, really good. As a nice bite-sized treat, they're not going to fill you up, which is nice. The pork belly is cooked perfectly. Typically with pork belly, I worry that it's going to be too fatty in a lot of places. There is fat present here, but it's not that sort of chewy, almost gristly fat. It sort of melts in your mouth. The tomato jam is bright and acidic, paired with a sweet molassesy barbecue sauce and the greens on top. I'm a fan of this play on a BLT. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, but I am going to tell you that this is a pro tip. Take some of these house-made chips, slap that on your sandwich, and then make sure to get some of this aioli because you do a little dip situation. About as close to heaven as you're going to get.
Losing the Brown Derby was a tough blow because that is arguably my favorite place to eat or drink here in Disney's Hollywood Studios. But we press on. Now here's the dilemma. There's several places that have like one really good option and nothing else. I'm looking at you, Toy Story Land. So, in the interest of grabbing a few good options, we are pleased to welcome Sunset Boulevard to Team Molly. Now, I know Sunset Boulevard might seem like a little bit of a surprising pick because there's not really any like standout banger locations that come to mind right off the rip. There's no baseline, there's no Woody's Lunchbox, but there is a lot of stuff here. And while you may be arguing I'm choosing quantity over quality, there's also a few hidden gems. Now let's just walk through all the things that are coming onto my team, including those highlights. Starting with the Sunshine Day Bar right here on the left-hand side. It's not super notable, but it's still a bar, and we'll take that. You've also got the Anaheim Produce Stand, which sells classic snacks like Mickey pretzels and churros, as well as additional beverages. Continuing on into Sunset Ranch Market, you've got Rosie's All-American Cafe. Now, I'm not going to pretend like this is a real prize to be won. It's classic theme park fare like burgers and chicken nuggets, but it does have what I think is probably the most underrated dessert, maybe in Disney World, definitely in this park, which is the PB&J shortbread sandwich cookie. It's got a chocolate Fantasmic decal on it, and it's got some pretzels in there for crunch. It is delightful. Right next door, Catalina Eddie's. That's puffy pizza. You know every team has a weak spot. But in the front here, you've got Fairfax Fare, which has waffle bowls filled with mashed potato and various toppings. And I know that sounds ridiculous, especially in the 90-degree heat, but y'all, I had the barbecue one, and it was delicious. A little bit more unique, still hearty, stick to your ribs comfort food, and there's a Korean barbecue version of that as well as a buffalo chicken version. Right next door, you've got Hollywood Scoops, which is hand-scooped ice cream, and it's really hard to beat hand-scooped ice cream. Sometimes you want a simple, delicious treat, and that's at Hollywood Scoops. Perhaps most importantly to me, by taking Sunset Boulevard, I'm taking a Joffrey's cart, because there is a Joffrey stand at the exit of Tower of Terror, which means Shaky Jamaica is officially on my team. Alan may have gotten Starbucks, but Joffrey's greater than Starbucks IMO. And now for what are probably the two most underrated or overlooked snack areas in all of the park. Right here on the outside of Rock and Roller Coaster, you've got KRNR, the rock station, eaten to the beat. This little trailer right here that sells a couple of hidden gems, including corn dog nuggets, as well as mini churros, soft serve ice cream, and floats. Also, just confirmed with Alana, the nice cast member here at KRNR, and yes, they're the same corn dog nuggets as Casey's Corner. And last, but certainly not least, the best cart that has ever carted, the Pretzel Palooza cart. Because it sells not one, not two, but 3 types of pretzels right here at this little cart. You've got the classic Mickey shaped, you've got the cheddar jalapeno, and the sweet cream cheese stuffed pretzel. That's a win in my book. 3 kinds of pretzels? I love that idea. Representing Sunset Boulevard, I've picked up the sweet cream cheese pretzel from the Pretzel Palooza. I do love that cheddar jalapeno one, but we've been eating a lot of savory, so something a little sweet sounded nice. Also, this is Alan's favorite. But right inside here, you've got that nice sweet cream cheese. It's warm, it's delicious. It's the perfect sweet if you're someone like us that doesn't want something over the top sickly sweet, but just a little bit of warm pretzel dough, sweet cream cheese, nice and delicious. And grab one of these, taking it to see Fantasmic with you. Sunset Boulevard, underrated bangers.
Okay, it was a really good selection by Molly. Both of her picks are high volume picks. There's a lot to choose from. Now, as she mentioned, there are a couple of spots here that have maybe 1 or 2 picks. Commissary Lane, Toy Story Land, both have 1 pick each. But I just keep coming back to this next pick. And it's gonna be Grand Avenue. And that might be surprising to some people, but let me tell you why. Have you ever seen a quarterback out there, all you football fans, who's maybe not the best runner, not the most mobile, but has an arm like a cannon? That's Grand Avenue. Pizza Rizzo is that like a running skills. Baseline, though, is that arm like a cannon. And that's why we're picking Grand Avenue. Now, between Pizza Rizzo, home of their signature puffy pizza, and Baseline Tap House, which is just an incredible little corner of this park, you will also find Hydraulics, which is a snack stand that, on a scale of 1 to 10, sits at a solid 5. It offers a number of snacks and some slushies. But I think a hidden little gem, a little bright spot here, is the Vivoli's Gelato stand. You can only find it here at Disney property outside of Italy, at Disney Springs, the Riviera, and here in a little stand in Grand Avenue. Okay, we have stopped by Baseline and picked up 2 beverages. Now, I'll be real, we've had quite a bit of food, so this is a nice little break. We both picked up a brew of our own choice. I have picked up the Hazy Little Thing IPA, and Molly, well, I'm going to let her explain her beverage. It is a brand new mix that she is testing out. Now, normally, if we were going to pick up food here, it would be the giant pretzel that has both beer cheese and mustard dip. It's delicious. And then often pair that with the charcuterie board, because I find that, like any charcuterie board, I run out of the carbohydrate that I'm putting my cheese and accoutrement on top of. So I like to use the pretzel as a stand-in carb with my charcuterie board. But given the amount of eating we've done, sticking to beers.
Okay, so previously I often got a drink here called the Mike's Mix or the Hurricane, which was invented by one of the bartenders named Mike here. And it was half of the orange cider and half of the Hefeweizen. And I have gotten tagged by so many of you that you tried it and loved it as well. Unfortunately, they don't carry the cider anymore. And I was just told by the bartender that it's because the company went out of business. So that is sad. But Joe, the bartender, made a different mix for me. It's still the Hefeweizen, which is a wheat beer, but he mixed it with a little bit of the Mango Cart, which is a sweeter beer. So it should hopefully have a similar effect of the cider, where it's like slightly less sweet than the mango on its own, but not quite as heavy as the Hefe on its own. Ooh. Okay. Unlike the Mike's Mix, which I thought if you weren't a beer drinker, it was a good entryway into beer because it had a little crispness from the cider. This is straight up beer, but it does exactly what it's supposed to do. He did like 70-30 Hefeweizen to mango. It's adding just a bit of sweetness to lighten it up a bit, but it's still a very drinkable, nice, refreshing beer on this hot day.
And as for me, I'm sticking with an old reliable. It's either the Stone Delicious or the Sierra Nevada Hazy IPA. Today, the Sierra Nevada Hazy IPA. Oh, very, very hop forward, very piney, with that hazy sort of nice smooth mouthfeel. This is a classic sipping beer, one of my favorites.
All right. Baseline is always a good call. We have 1 round left, but half the lands left in the park. And all of those lands more or less have one good thing to draw you in, or literally one thing, and that's it. So I'm gonna go with a strong one thing, and we are headed, friends, to Andy's backyard. It's as if he knew I was coming, Buzz Lightyear out greeting friends and welcoming them into Toy Story Land, my final recruit for this draft. With the exception of a couple of drink carts, there is one and only one location that counts for the draft, and that is Woody's Lunchbox. The other dining location here, Woody's Roundup Rodeo Barbecue, is a full-service restaurant, which, as you know, we haven't been counting. But Woody's Lunchbox is incredibly popular for a few dishes, including the tachos, which are basically nachos on tater tots. You've also got things like the 3-cheese grilled cheese and tomato soup, the barbecue brisket melt. There's a breakfast version of the tachos, which is very, very delicious. Or, as well as what we're gonna pick up now, the Lunchbox Tart. Now, the downfall of Woody's Lunchbox is the limited seating, which is all outside. This land tends to get very, very hot. And right now, the seating is even more limited in the sense that it doesn't exist. It's gone now. It's all behind those bushes right there. And even when I put in my mobile order, it was like, just so you know, there is no seating right now. I can only hope they're making more seating for this popular joint, but you know us, we'll find a trash can if we need to. As a pro tip, Woody's Lunchbox is incredibly popular, and often the mobile order spots fill up for hours in advance. So if you think you'd like to eat here during your trip to Hollywood Studios, order it as soon as possible. Just guess when you think you'd like to be here. You can always modify that order if there's other times available, but it will avoid you standing in a long standby line. I recently realized that Sarge, the voice of Sarge, is a terrible character in the Texas Chainsaw movies, and now I'm suspicious of the Green Army Men. But anyway, here's our Lunchbox Tart. I'd be lying to you if I said that picking this land wasn't a little selfish, because they've got a pumpkin as their seasonal Lunchbox Tart right now. But the Lunchbox Tart is dessert here at Woody's Lunchbox. It's basically like a fancy Pop-Tart. They pretty much always have a raspberry one, but then they do seasonals. So again, pumpkin right now. They've done a hot cocoa one for the holidays. They've done a lemon blueberry, which is delicious. But you know me, pumpkin spice girly. Let's get in there. I love the Lunchbox Tarts because I love Pop-Tarts. They're not warmed up because, you know, it's not retirees around here. Really nice, buttery, flaky crust, better than a Pop-Tart's crust. That's a win, I think. That consistent, delicious crust that's nice and it kind of melts in your mouth. And then you've got the different filling in there, which in this case, it tastes like pumpkin pie filling, which obviously I like. It's got all those autumnal spices like nutmeg and cinnamon. You've got that kind of hard icing on the top with some candy corns. What more could you want for a seasonal autumnal treat? And Woody's Lunchbox, while it is the only location I'm really recruiting to my team, it's a solid location with a bunch of solid, delicious treats.
So it's all come down to me, the last pick of the draft. Now, I'd like to tell you that it was a difficult choice, but the reality of this decision is it's not that hard. I'm left with Echo Lake, Animation Courtyard, and Commissary Lane. And of the three, Commissary Lane is the one that really speaks to me, and it has the most bang for its area in the park, because Commissary Lane is truly just a lane in which you can find one dedicated set of bathrooms and the ABC commissary. And that's where we're headed. Now you might be wondering what went unselected in this draft, and it starts here in Animation Courtyard, where you have two locations. The first is a Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company cart that has coffee, espresso, and pastries.
Most importantly, Shaky Jamaican.
Yes, most importantly, Shaky Jamaican. And to its left, Market. Yeah, that's what it's called, both on the sign and in the My Disney Experience app, Market. Most notably known to sell Jack Jack's Cookie Num Nums. And that Cookie Num Num is a big warm chocolate chip cookie from The Incredibles 2. The rest of the menu here is, unfortunately, pretty forgettable.
Additionally, neither of us drafted Echo Lake, which is kind of a weird long land that doesn't feel like it has a lot of options, but it actually does. For starters, you've got Dockside Diner, which is the boat-themed restaurant. Primarily serves a bunch of different hot dogs. So you knew I wasn't picking that. And it's not just because I'm still bitter. They got rid of the chicken Caesar salad sandwich from there years ago.
Although you should be bitter about that, I still am. It was one of the best sandwiches in a theme park.
You've also got Peavy's Polar Pipeline, which is a stand that serves frozen Cokes and slushies, some of which can be made alcoholic. You've got two of the most popular sit-down restaurants in this land. Those wouldn't count, Hollywood and Vine, the character dining location, as well as 50's Primetime Cafe. However, what would count is the Tune-In Lounge, which is the walk-up bar section, full bar of 50's Primetime Cafe. You've got Gertie's Ice Cream of Extinction, which is soft serve ice cream. I will say it's not always open. It kind of has unusual hours. We may not luck out with Gertie's there, although she is an icon. You've got Oasis Canteen, which is a walk-up bar, and Epic Eats, which has big, giant, over-the-top funnel cakes, so it's not surprising Alan didn't pick that one. And lastly, Backlot Express, which is a big quick service restaurant that mostly serves kind of classic theme park foods such as burgers and chicken tenders, but notably they do have the Wookiee cookie there, which is a delightful oatmeal cream pie. But overall, Echo Lake is fine, and nothing there, with possibly the exception of the Tune-In Lounge, is a real standout, unlike some of the other places we've picked.
Now, as we make it towards ABC Commissary and Commissary Lane, I would like to mention that there is also another full-service restaurant here, and that is the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater. Unfortunately, though, that is a table service restaurant, so it does not count towards this draft. What does, though, is where we are headed. ABC Commissary for the classic, what I think is a classic, buffalo chicken grilled cheese sandwich. Other notable items on the menu here are things like the shrimp tacos, the California burger, Mediterranean salad with chicken. Honestly, this menu is going to have crowd pleasers for the whole family without you having to resort to the, in quotes, classic theme park fare. All those dishes are elevated here, which is why it is my final selection. Okay, have just picked up our buffalo chicken grilled cheese along with the arugula farro salad. Listen, outside of the fact that this food is an elevated version of most of the classic park food you're going to find, along with some fun and interesting submissions, I just have to say that this location is also a prime location for families or parties who want to pop in and have a place to relax inside of the air conditioning away from the heat on these hot park days. Another added bonus, if you do decide to buy a fountain beverage, you got free soda refills, so you can sit down and rehydrate. Because listen, it's Florida. Hydrate before you dihydrate, folks.
That's right, friends. You heard it here first from Alan. Soda will hydrate you.
It's not what I said. That's actually not what I said. No.
Diet Coke is basically water.
That's not, no.
For legal reasons, drink water.
Drink water, please.
So we take the grilled cheese and dip it into a buffalo sauce. That looks delectable. Nice, buttery toasted bread, almost like a cream cheese consistency wrapped around the buffalo chicken that has been shredded and a dip into the buffalo sauce. You know, I was gonna say it didn't have a lot of a kick, and it's not super spicy. For those of you who are spicy averse, there's just a nice little tingle at the back of my throat. I would always love for this to be spicy, but I think this is a really nice twist on a classic grilled cheese. It's gonna be a crowd pleaser, like a lot of the dishes here. Yeah, I'm enjoying.
And I love that you have some different options here for your sides. You could get fries, you can get apples, but I actually really like this arugula farro salad, which has got craisins, it's got craisins, walnuts, plant-based Parmesan, arugula farro, and then a nice light like apples on here, appley vinaigrette. So it's a plant-based salad, but it's delicious and a little more unusual and lighter than a lot of your other sides. I also noticed today that on the kids menu only, you can get this topped with chicken. And I feel like I'm gonna get that at some point if I just want a really light but still flavorful meal in the parks.
Well, that brings us to the end of another Booze and Bites drafts. Let's review our teams. Molly.
Tickled to join Team Molly, we have Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Sunset Boulevard, and Toy Story Land.
And ecstatic to join Team Allen, we have
Hollywood Boulevard,
Grand Avenue, and Commissary Lane.
You have a lot of streets.
I do have a great many
You
streets.
could build a city
Listen,
with
there's
that.
something to say about street food.
All right, that was pretty good. Please go to the community tab and let us know who won this draft, which team you think was better recruited, and also let us know down in the comments where we should play next.
Until next time, friends, please be sure to like this video, subscribe if you are new, follow us on all of our socials, and come join with the Man Fam in the conversation on Discord. We'd love to have you. The links for all that are down below.
And until next time, friends, I'm Molly.
And I'm Alan.
And it has been magically delicious. That's probably trademarked by a leprechaun. It's been magical and delicious.
Then after me, lucky treats.